The first draft of Hollywood Hustle was about 70,000, was about almost 100,000 words, and we cut about 30,000 words out of it. Um, and I think certainly my earliest drafts were pretty cynical and a little angry. And, I didn't want to do that, but there was something I needed to get off my chest about just how hard it is. Listen, LA is a bright, sunny place. It's got this potential and possibility that is spectacular. And I mean, look, Emma Stone is a great example. Here's the little red-haired girl from Scottsdale, Arizona, came to Hollywood. Turns out she's some sort of acting genius. And now she's at the very, very pinnacle of the game with 2 Oscars under her belt. On the other hand, there are people who are attracted to that kind of light who don't have Emma Stone's best interests at heart, don't have anybody's best. They have their own interests at heart, and they're willing to do pretty much anything to get it. I've come across a lot of those people too. So I guess I wanted to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and say, this isn't all light and shadows. There's a lot of blood on the floor here. Winston, for one thing, his name is probably the only one that never changed. I've always liked the name Winston, and I've always wanted to write a character named Winston. And when this character started coming out of me, I just decided, well, here's a perfect opportunity. And I just put an E on the end of green to make it look different. And Winston Green sounds good. You can say it easily, like Robert Redford or Paul Newman. The consonants and vowels go together the right way. But Winston, I mean, Winston's a guy who has gone to the highest peaks, and due to his own bad choices and bad behavior, it's crashed and burned on him. Now, when we meet him, he's built his life and career back to a point where it's just stable. And he's kind of like that cat in the picture, hang on, baby. He's just hanging on. He doesn't have a lot of money left. He's got some work, but it's not the A-list stuff anymore. It's the C-grade movies that have his picture on the poster, but he's not into the multi-million-dollar deals anymore. But he's gotten it right back to where he can keep it that way if things maintain. And of course, that's exactly when things go wrong. So from a storytelling point, that's where you start the book. As far as the other names, boy, I'll tell you, there was one point, the first editor I worked with, an independent editor named Nathaniel Marunas, is terrific. He helped me trim out those 30,000 words. And he also pointed out, gee, John, all the women in this book, their names start with the letter K. Did you notice that? No, I didn't. It was like Karen and Kathy and, Crystal. I had no idea that I had done that. So I had to go through and find names. I mean, clearly I was just like, oh, her name is Kathy, and so you can keep writing. That's why you do it that way. And I didn't plot this out. I'm not one of those writers who puts cards on the wall and looked at them, at least not yet. I probably will, but when I sat down, I just started writing with, Winston woke up after dreaming of bourbon, hoping he had somebody, knows he can't, to find his 6-year-old granddaughter in the room. And I don't even know where that came from because I don't have a granddaughter, but I did. But I just thought that was a weird thing. And he goes out on the front porch to find out that his daughter is kidnapped. And I don't know. It wasn't like a planned thing to do. I just wrote, what would be the worst thing that would happen to this guy and a lot of other guys that I know who are in that position? What are they going to do if somebody says, you got to give me all your money and you don't have any? Claire isn't just some shrinking flower. She has a drug problem, but she does have her father's grit. She has inherited that. Her determination to survive is still in her. And I think that would be my saving grace if I'm going to write about a woman who's been kidnapped and put into a less than desirable situation, that she's not going to just give up and hope that somebody comes to rescue her. I can't write without kind of seeing it play out in front of me, like a movie. But, what's a supporting character there for? It's there to support the lead guy. And what does that mean? It means he's got to help him. If he's going to help him, what does that mean to the story? Where is he going to fit in? And so it's kind of like it's each of those characters is kind of a pillar that holds the whole thing up. And if you knock one of those out, if they don't have a function, then that's a very weak link. But I wanted to have a cop who knew what to do, and I wanted to have a stuntman who you just don't fuck with. So in that regard, and I also wanted to show that Winston Green was a guy who at least made good choices in his long-term friends. I documented it on Instagram. I set up a camera, and because I'd seen other authors do this, but most of them were people that had, done this 30 times already. For me, I wanted to document it for myself at first, and because I didn't do it live. I thought, record this and then maybe put it up, depending on how you do it. But I was actually at the table I'm sitting at right now, and when I cut open the box, it's funny, my laptop is sitting on the Penguin Random House box that my books came in. I methodically, I knew what it was, but I hadn't seen them. I'd seen the advanced reader copies, the soft cover, large format soft cover, but I hadn't seen the hardback. And hardback was, it's not even done all the time anymore. So that was another surprise. But to cut open that box and I mean, hold this thing in your hand and be able to open it and see, where Michael Connolly or somebody else, James Patterson, those guys are, and to see the blurb and the little synopsis, the way so many of my heroes have been presented to me was, and all the praise for on the back. I got so emotional. I'm getting emotional now. It had a more profound effect on me than anything else I've ever done.